Star Wars is a theme I never really bought when I was little, but it's one I always wanted to get. But buying all those sets I missed out on would cost me an arm and a leg. So instead of trying to buy all those sets, I decided to just buy a bunch of the new stuff since it covers most of what I'm looking for, which is sets based on the prequel and original trilogies. So let's begin with the prequel trilogy. So the first set I want to talk about is the Btw I. So overall, I think this set looks fantastic. I like that it has a very nice Phase 2 Commander Cody, the battle droids are nice, and I like the clone gunner. But now for the two 12th troopers, I think their torsos look good, but the helmet I just do not like. I normally don't mind the helmets, but this one is just actual false advertising, because on the box it has that point at the end, and the actual figures just don't have the point, and to me that just ruins it. I think it actually just does not look good, because once you realize that, I think it just ruins it. But aside from the figures, it has this crab droid or spider droid, I'm not sure which one it is, and then the actual ATT I think looks amazing. I like the big old cannon on the top. I like that it has a nice handle so you can pick it up really well, and I love how every time you set it down, the legs always go back into a really good position. And then it has a pretty interesting driver's seat, and the interior is pretty cool. I think it's cool that they added one, but overall I think the shaping is done really well on it. Next up, the Coruscant Guard gunship, and overall I also think that this is a very nice set. I like the two clone troopers and the Chancellor Palpatine, and the Padme is pretty good, but I don't like the face that they use. It's like the Black Widow / Captain Marvel face. They already made a really good face for Padme on an older figure. I don't know why they won't just use that now. But the Commander Fox I just don't like. I think it's a really cool character, and the figure is good, I guess. Like, most of the figure is good, but the torso is just terrible. I don't like that the white looks pink. But for the actual gunship, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's kind of small, but I think for its size, it's actually pretty good. I like how big the wings are, and I love how it also has a handle, and both of the cockpits are pretty cool. But the big complaint about the set is the doors, which technically don't open accurately. I think for the size, it's fine. I think it looks good, but the thing I don't like about it is there's not a lot of interior space, which again is because the size is pretty small. I think for the size of it, they were able to compact a lot, but I also think for $140, it's a little expensive. Next up, the Sith Infiltrator, which I think has a pretty good selection of figures, but I think it's missing one or two. I like the Anakin, it looks pretty good. I love the Qui-Gon and the Darth Maul. I don't think the No People Sith Eyes works well on the Darth Maul, but I still like the figure. And then for the 25th anniversary figure, I think the Saw Gerrera looks really good. I think this set should have at least had Obi-Wan Kenobi as another figure. I don't know why he's not in this, but the actual Sith Infiltrator looks pretty good. I like the wings in the cockpit, and I like that it has Darth Maul's speeder in it. I do think that the middle's a little tall leading up to the cockpit, but I don't think it ruins it. And on the topic of Darth Maul, I also bought the book, which the book itself is alright, but I mainly got it for the 25th anniversary figure. It's just a reprint of the original Darth Maul, but on the back it has the 25th anniversary logo. And I also went out and bought an extra stand off Bricklink so that I could display the Darth Maul with the rest of them. But after that, I bought the buildable R2-D2, which at the time I didn't really want that bad, but after I bought it, it's really grown on me and I actually like it a lot. So first, the R2-D2 is pretty good, and the stand is pretty nice, and the 25th anniversary figure is probably my favorite. I think Dark Malak is really cool, and they did a great job on this figure. And now for the actual R2-D2, I really like it actually. I like that it has a third leg, but I also like that you can take it off, and then the legs look pretty good themselves. And I think for how small it is, the front looks really good, and they were able to pack a lot of detail into it. And I think that the head looks really nice and it's well rounded off. And I love that they're making a C-3PO that's supposed to go along with it. Now this Republic fighter tank took me forever to get. I thought this set was really good, but I could not find it anywhere. It was out of stock everywhere for months, but I was finally able to get one. And I think the battle droids or whatever, they're pretty cool. I love the two clone troopers and the clone gunner, and the Mace Windu is amazing. I love the Mace Windu. I love the arm printing and the actual figure overall. And the actual fighter tank I also really like. I like that it has wheels on the bottom so it looks like it's actually hovering. And I think overall it's just a really neat set. The only thing I don't like about it is I feel like the guns on the side fall over a lot. Specifically mine on the left falls a lot, like it falls down all the time. I don't know if that's with all of them or just mine, but it's really annoying. Next I also picked up the Captain Rex Microfighter, which I don't have the Microfighter anymore, I broke it down for parts. But of course everyone buys this set for the figure, and I love the Captain Rex, I think it looks great, but I know a lot of people think it should have stayed exclusive with the Venator, which I agree. I don't think Captain Rex being in a smaller set is bad at all. I just don't think it should have been the exact same one. They should have made a completely different figure, or they should have just taken off some printing or taken away the little cape piece. Something to make it not the exact same figure from the $600 set. But anyways, next up about the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter. And I think the Obi-Wan Kenobi looks pretty good. The Taun We I think is our first one ever, and I also think it looks pretty good. And the R4P17 is pretty cool. And now for the actual Jedi Starfighter, I like it a lot. I like that you can put the droid head in the Starfighter, and you can hide the rest of the body away in the middle. I like the cockpit and the little seat in there, and I think the back of it looks pretty good. The only thing I don't like is that gap in the middle on both sides, but I don't think it ruins it. And then next about the Bark Speeder set. I know this is technically a Mandalorian set, but I'm counting it as a prequel / Clone Wars set, because you know it takes place during Order 66. But the Grogu is pretty cool. I like the two 501st Clone Troopers, and the Jedi's pretty cool. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but I like him a lot. And the actual Bark Speeder is pretty cool. There's not too much to say about it. I think it looks pretty cool. The only thing I don't like is the two guns in the middle. I think make it a little bulky, but I don't think it ruins it. I then went on a Bricklink and bought the duel on Mustafar, because there's not an actual way to buy Anakin right now on the market, unless you count young Anakin. But I like the Obi-Wan Kenobi in this set, and I love love the Anakin Skywalker. I love his Sith angry face on the other side. I think it just looks really good. And the actual set is whatever. I mean, it's just a play set. It's not really one made for display. It just has random things that move and it's kind of cool, I guess. You can kind of have it longer like as a square, and then a bunch of things move, but that's really it. And then after that, I bought Yoda's Jedi Starfighter. I think the R2-D2 is pretty cool. I love the Yoda minifigure, and the actual Starfighter is pretty cool. It's not too different from the previous one, but I still like it. I think the wings look pretty good. I like the cockpit a lot, and I like that you can stick R2-D2 in the back. But now, I bought Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader. Now, I know this set is terrible, but at the time that I bought this, around a year or two ago, it was the cheapest way to get Darth Vader, and I also didn't own an Obi-Wan Kenobi at the time. And I also don't even have the set built anymore, because I broke it down for parts. But the Obi-Wan Kenobi is pretty cool, I guess. I think I've gotten better ones since then, but it's alright. Ned and Tala are pretty cool, I guess, but they're just not very desirable characters. And at the time, it was my very first Darth Vader I ever got. And I think it's a very nice looking Darth Vader, and it's still technically unique, because it has the younger Anakin face under the helmet. I just kind of wish it had those red eyes. Now, the Trade Federation troop carrier I thought was going to be a set, and whenever I found out it was going to be a gift with purchase, I was going to try and make sure I got it. And luckily, I was able to. It has a 25th anniversary brick, 6 battle droids that I do not feel like taking out of the thing. And then it has 2, I'm not sure if they're commander or pilot droids, but it has 2 of those. And then the actual troop carrier I think looks really good. I think it's a really good modern take on it. I like how it can slide out, and I think it also has a really nice place for the guns. And after that, it was time to buy some battle packs. So first about the 501st battle pack, which I think is a very long awaited battle pack. I love all 4 of the 501st figures, and the actual cannon's pretty cool. And then I bought the 332nd Clone Trooper battle pack. I like that it comes with the clone captain, I forgot how to pronounce his name. And the other 3 clones are pretty cool. I also think the actual speeder's pretty cool. And the final prequel / Clone Wars set that I bought was the Super Battle Pack from earlier this year. It comes with a nice Shock Trooper, 3 standard Phase 2 Clone Troopers, some more battle droids, and the brand new Super Battle Droids, which I think look really good. And then it comes with a pretty cool staff. I like it a lot. The speeder I think is pretty cool. It has some guns in the back, but it has those guns on the side, which I think make it look a little too bulky. And then I forget what this droid thing is called. I don't know if it's a spider droid or a crab droid or something completely different, but I've seen it in the Clone Wars show and I think it looks really good. But that is the last prequel set that I bought. Now on to the original trilogy. So the first thing I bought for the original trilogy was Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. So first, R2-D2 is pretty cool. I like the Princess Leia a lot. The General Dodonna is pretty cool. And then Pilot Luke looks pretty cool. I like the actual X-Wing a lot. I like how it comes to a point in the front. I like the cockpit a lot. I think the back of it looks pretty cool. And I love how whenever you press down on the back, the wings go into an X shape. I don't really have very many complaints with this set. I think it's a pretty solid set. The next set that I bought was the Boarding the Tantive 4. I think it has a great figure selection. It has a nice Darth Vader, but this one has the older Anakin under the helmet. And then it has 2 great looking stormtroopers, 2 rebel troopers, and a Captain Antilles. I think it's a really great figure selection and I like all the figures. And there's also a 25th anniversary figure, which I'm pretty sure is our first ever 5's clone trooper. I think the actual printing on the body looks really good. The only thing I don't like about the figure is the helmet print is inaccurate, and then the cloth piece just does not sit right. And now for the actual set, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think the walls on the Tantive 4 look pretty cool, and the floor has some cool play features, and I think it's a cool play set. I just think for display it's not very good. And the last pretty cool feature is the door opening feature. I then bought the most recent advent calendar, and I don't have any of the builds built anymore, but out of the figures, the only new ones to me were these 4, which is the Princess Leia and I think a young clone trooper from 2 different sets, and those were sets I did not buy, but I love the 2 Christmas figures. I love the Christmas Ewok and the Christmas Palpatine. Palpatine is definitely my favorite, but I like both of them. And I'm pretty sure the cheapest set with Han Solo right now is the Yavin base set, and I want to buy that set, so I just went on Bricklink and bought a Han Solo. And then I bought the TIE Fighter set. I like the Stormtrooper a lot and the TIE Fighter pilot, and the droid's pretty cool too. And the actual TIE Fighter I also like a lot. I think the wings are pretty nice, and the cockpit's pretty cool. And then after that I bought the ATST, which has a pretty cool Snow Chewbacca, and then has a Hoth Rebel Trooper, and a pretty cool ATST driver. Now the actual ATST looks pretty cool. It stands up really well, like it does not fall over at all. I think the legs look pretty good, and the actual top is pretty cool. It has a lot of cool angles, and my favorite part of it is how you can turn this knob in the back, and the head actually moves back and forth. And then also about the Snow Trooper battle pack. It comes with 3 pretty cool Snow Troopers, and a pretty cool Scout Trooper. And I destroyed the little snow bit for parts, but I think it's pretty cool. And it has this pretty cool gun, and it has a pretty cool speeder. I think it's the best speeder out of all the speeders that I own. I then was able to buy my favorite diorama set that Star Wars has made, which is the Emperor's Throne Room. The Darth Vader is pretty cool. It has the same old Anakin under the helmet. It has a great Luke Skywalker, and my first ever Emperor Palpatine, unless you count the Christmas one. And the actual build looks really good. I like the 40th anniversary brick, and I also like the little quote on the bottom. Palpatine has a pretty cool throne, and then the backdrop and the window look really good. Now from the back it looks a little weird, but from the front I like it a lot. And now the final original trilogy set is the Millennium Falcon. Now I know technically this is a sequel set, but I'm just going to count it as an original trilogy set. So first it has a pretty cool R2-D2. It has this other droid that I completely forgot the name of, and then it has an amazing C-3PO, a normal Chewbacca, whatever whatever this guy is called, I forgot his name. And then it has a fin, which is whatever. And then it has a pretty cool Lando. Now the actual Falcon I think just looks amazing. I think it's one of the best play-scaled Falcons ever. They did a really good job at closing off all the gaps on the top. And then overall it just looks really good. I like how the thrusters look in the back. I like the gun on top. And the cockpit looks pretty good, but the inside is kind of small. I know there wasn't much that they could do with the size of the ship, but the cockpit's just really small. And then for the inside, it has a pretty cool chair and control system. It has some nice beds in the back. It has the cool little table that they play games at. And then it has a bunch of like power stuff in the back. Now I also bought a few things that take place after the original trilogy. Not really sequel movie stuff, but stuff like the Ahsoka show and Mandalorian stuff. So first I bought this Boba Fett mech, which is not built anymore. I just bought it for the figure. I also bought this Boba Fett microfighter, which is also not built anymore. I also bought it for the different Boba Fett figure. And then I also bought this Mandalorian microfighter, which is also not built anymore, but I bought it for the fully armored Mandalorian. I then bought the Dark Trooper attack set, which is from the Mandalorian, and it has 3 really cool Dark Troopers. And at the time, it was my first ever Luke Skywalker. And the actual set I do not have built anymore, but it is a pretty cool set. I then bought the Ambush on Mandalore battle pack. This set I do not have built anymore, but the figures are really cool. It has 2 Imperial Commandos, and then it has a really cool Mandalorian Warrior and a really cool Mandalorian Night Owl. After that, I bought the Pirate Snub Fighter, and it has a really cool Snub Fighter pilot, and then the really cool Pirate minifigure. And then for the actual Snub Fighter, I think it's a really cool small ship. I like the cockpit and the long window piece, and it's just a really cool and unique ship. I then bought the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle, and for the figures, the 2 guards are pretty cool. Moff Gideon and his Mandalorian armor looks really cool, and then Paz Vizsla looks really good. I think the set looks pretty cool. It has a pretty cool turret up at the top, and from the front it looks really cool, and then the door opens up, and it can be held up from the back, but it doesn't close too well. I don't remember too much from season 3, but I do remember liking Paz Vizsla, and I kind of remember this scene a little bit. And then I picked up Ahsoka Tano's T6 shuttle. Although the show wasn't my favorite, I do like the set a lot. I think Ahsoka Tano looks really good, and it's my first ever Ahsoka. Sabine looks great in her Mandalorian armor, and the droid looks pretty cool. I forget how to say his name. And I don't remember this Sith at all, but I think he looks pretty cool. And now the actual ship I have a few problems with. I think from this above view it looks really good. It's very accurate, and I think it just looks really good. But the cockpit I think is a little too small. I understand for the size and the price it can't be that much bigger. I just think it's a little small. And I like how it can spin and turn into its flying position. But the thing I really don't like about it is the bottom. It just looks terrible compared to the top. And it's supposed to have more stripes on the bottom. And they could have easily done that. I just don't know why they didn't. So from some angles, if you fly it looks really stupid. But if you display it properly, it looks really good. And I think it's still a pretty good set. Now this set I got right before it went out of stock. And it was the Razor Crest playset. It has a pretty cool Scout Trooper. It has at the time my first Grogu. It has this pretty cool looking droid. And this guy, I forgot his name. And then it has a really cool Mandalorian. I love how it's like the no armored Mandalorian. And the helmet's a lot darker than the other one. But the actual set looks fantastic. I love the cool little escape pod. I love how the big engines look. The cockpit is really big and looks really nice. He has a nice little bed area on the side. And on the other side it can hold some bullets. And then all the sides can open up and the back can open up. And it's pretty plain on the inside. Like there's a lot of room, but it's just kind of hard to get your fingers in there. But overall this set is fantastic. It's one of my favorite ships that I own. And it would be a dream to own the UCS one day. And then now the final set that I bought was the Ghost and Phantom 2. In this set I wasn't going to buy, but I got it for a really good deal. From using my VIP points and some other stuff, I got it for half off. So for 80 bucks I had to buy it. And now for the figures, Hawkins looks pretty cool. The pilot dude looks pretty cool. I forgot how to pronounce her name, but I know she's a very important character. And she was really cool in the show. But this lady looks really cool. Jason looks pretty cool, I guess. And then Chopra is another really cool figure. I think this set has a pretty cool figure lineup, but the ship is just phenomenal. It has a pretty cool cockpit. You can open the top of it and it has a great interior. It's a very unique ship in its shape. It looks so cool. There's just a lot of really cool angles, and I just love how it all comes together. I love the big thrusters in the back, and the actual Phantom's pretty cool. And I think whenever it's attached, it looks pretty cool. The whole set all together is just great, and it's by far one of my favorites that I bought. And that was everything that I bought from my Dream Star Wars collection. There's a lot of older things I could have bought, but they're just way too expensive. But either way, I just think it's so cool that over the past year to 2 years, I was able to buy all this Lego Star Wars, and it's just a really cool theme to get into. And there's just so many great sets right now covering so many eras of Star Wars, with prequel and original trilogy and stuff after, like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. There's just a great variety of Star Wars out right now. Star Wars just has some fantastic sets, and I'm very happy to be able to own some of them now.